We are now an hour away from not only India's Prime Minister taking oath for the third time, but his entire cabinet taking oath simultaneously. We're going to see a break from tradition. It's not just going to be Narendra Modi who swears in and then the cabinet swears in later. It's going to be the entire cabinet. I want you to see the live shots of the Rashtrapati Bhavan on your screens. We're going to put out the shots of the dais because as you're seeing people arriving, and yes, it's 9,000 plus people arriving. They're gathering in the heat of the dusk of Delhi. You can see the incumbent External Affairs Minister hoping to retain his portfolio very, very shortly on your screens. He was there, remember, 5 years ago, taking oath as well. Now have a look at a different set of visuals just taken a few minutes ago from the dais of the forecourt of the Rashtrapati Bhavan. So this is on the first level of the steps of the Rashtrapati Bhavan. We'll put those images on our screens because eventually my team and my PCR crew will catch up with what I'm asking them to do. And you'll be able to count the number of chairs, ladies and gentlemen. And the counting of the number of chairs is going to tell you that a cabinet of nearly 60 people, there you have it on your screens, is about to be sworn in. So it's going to be a lengthy ceremony, even though each swearing in only takes about 30-40 seconds. It's going to be led by Narendra Modi, Prime Minister, followed by Amit Shah, Rajnath Singh, who are the senior cabinet ministers. Then, of course, you have Nirmala, you have Jai Shankar, all of these people are back in cabinet. Now let's replace, now that gives you an indication of the number of people. There are 3 rows of those chairs, of all of whom are going to be in Narendra Modi cabinet 3.0. Okay, there are 3 rows of those chairs. That gives you an idea of how large the cabinet is going to be. It is mandated by law to be less than 15% of the Lok Sabha. So about 80 is the maximum size. It's hit 60-70 in the past. That's roughly what we're expecting it to be this time around as well. Now, let's put some photographs on your screens of a meeting that Narendra Modi as Prime Minister has already convened ahead of the swearing-in ceremony. And that is going to give you an indication of who the people are going to be. There is no official list yet, but primarily from those attending these meetings, we are assuming now that almost all, if not every single one, is going to become a minister in the Modi government in its third term. Led by Amit Shah, C.R. Patil, Mansukh Mandviya is expected to return. We're expecting J.P. Nadda to be the entrant from Himachal, no longer to continue as party chief, but to now head into government. That's something similar that happened for Amit Shah 5 years ago. Ajay Tamta coming in from Uttarakhand. Ravneet Bittu, who was a former MP, lost this time around, but has been a former MP from Ludhiana to be coming into the cabinet. Nitin Gadkari, no surprises there. You're expecting Pratap Rao Jagav, Raksha Khadse, Piyush Goyal returning to cabinet, Murlidhar Mohol, Ramdas Athavale returning, Shivraj Singh Chauhan after winning Vidisha expected to take a cabinet portfolio, former Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, Jyotiraditya Scindia expected to return, Savitri Thakur expected to come in from Madhya Pradesh as well. Now in Rajasthan, Gajendra Shekhawat returning to cabinet, Bhagirath Chaudhary entering into cabinet, and Arjun Ram Meghwal returning to cabinet. Remember, he was the sitting law minister. Jitin Ram Majhi coming in, expected in a cabinet portfolio. Ramnath Thakur, Nityadan Rai, Giriraj Singh from Bihar, even though he lost his election, and Chirag Paswan, leader of the LJP, who's won 5 seats in Bihar, all expected to be inducted into the cabinet. So now you understand, Nitish is going to continue running the government in Bihar. Chirag is going to get a central government portfolio. Annapurna Devi and Chandra Prakash come in from Jharkhand. Visuals on your screen of the meeting. H.D. Kumaraswamy, you can see over there. Amit Shah, Rajnath Singh, all being given. And this is, I promise you, this is a team meeting that Narendra Modi is doing. Like you would do a team meeting in your organization, that's what's happening over there. Jitin Prasad, expected to come into the cabinet. He was in the UP cabinet, former union minister, but under a different government led by the Congress party, this time a union minister under the BJP. Rajnath Singh, no surprises. Pankaj Chaudhary, Anupriya Patel returning. Jayant Chaudhary expected to be inducted into the cabinet. That will be a big return for him. He gets Rajya Sabha, 2 Lok Sabha seats, and he's going to be expected to be inducted from the Rajya Sabha and even get a cabinet portfolio. Sanjay Bandi and G. Kishan Reddy expected to return to cabinet. Manohar Lal Khattar and Rao Inderjeet Singh coming in into cabinet as well. Manohar Lal Khattar, of course, being the former Chief Minister of Haryana. Sarvanand Sonowal expected to return here, and we're expecting a few coming in from Bengal as well. So a large cabinet, all of whom are going to be swearing in. So all conversations are over. They'll be taking in their ministries tomorrow. So by late this evening or early tomorrow morning, we will know what ministries they'll be taking. By the swearing in ceremony, you will know who is getting in what order. So cabinet ministers will go first, then you'll see MOS's independent charge, and finally you'll see the MOS's. So you'll know roughly what designation they've got, which ministries we'll find out later in the evening after the swearing in ceremony or early tomorrow morning when they take charge of their ministries. Let me open up this conversation. Joining us on the broadcast, we have Joyita Basu, editor of the Sunday Guardian, Ambassador Baswati Mukherjee joining us, Dr. PSV Rao with us, Sharad Kohli with us, and Himanshu Bhatt with us as well. Joyita, let me address the practical issue of government formation and having a cabinet. Does this in effect reflect to you a confident government, a stable government, everybody think all sorted, negotiations all done, no issues now?
Well, the fact that there are 60 chairs on the dais, that itself shows that yes, a lot of accommodation has happened, and why not? Because
54 chairs to be exact.
Okay, fine, 54. I mean, of course, we have
remove one for the Prime Minister, so that's 53 others.
Okay, all right, now since we are being technical, but the fact of the matter is that yes, it's going to be, there will be lots of ministers here, but even then, I mean, there will be, I think they can have another, say, 20, 25 ministers. So that leeway they already have. But I think, yes, it is a confident government. If BJP seems to be retaining the most important, the portfolios, the CCS, the Cabinet Committee of Security, those portfolios BJP will be retaining. So when it comes to the larger direction of policy, it is the BJP that will be deciding, it will be the Prime Minister. And even otherwise, when you are looking at the way we know the government has been functioning, the earlier two governments, it will ultimately be the Prime Minister who will be the everything will be ultimately be vetted by the PMO, and here the allies may feel a little uncomfortable, some of the new allies, but I don't think anyone is in the mood to rock the boat right now. So at least, yes, for the next couple of years or more than that, I think perfectly stable situation. And in spite of whatever is being said about Mr. Modi, that he will not be able to carry along all these allies and all, I don't think that is the case. As we ourselves have been writing in the Sunday Guardian, I mean, it's a give and take. It's a give and take, and the thing is that he is a strong Prime Minister, he has his agenda very clear, and I think everyone will ultimately fall in line. I don't think blackmailing will happen.
Yeah, I think we're pretty sorted on that. For Himanshu, but what is your gut reaction? Does it, in essence, look to you a government that is pretty much plus minus a here and there, pretty much going with the portfolio allocation that the PM would have wanted, regardless of what Nitish wanted? They had an alliance. I'm sure some of the commitments were already made. There was some clarity. Maybe plus minus one or two here and there has happened. But HDK, I'm sure HDK was given a commitment. I'm sure Jitin Prasada was given a commitment. I'm sure the commitment was given to Jitan Ram Manjhi. I'm sure that the RLD chief had been given a commitment, and of course Chirag and Nitish had already been given commitment. So it's pretty much what was expected. Nothing dramatically has changed post 240.
No, nothing dramatically has changed, because you are going to see the continuation of Modi 2.0, because the core ministries are going to stay the same. The ministers are also going to stay the same. That is what is my gut feeling.
Okay, so obviously S. Jaishankar is going to retain External Affairs Ministry. He's not going to be shunted to some other ministry. It doesn't make any sense. So out of the 4 CCS ministers, we are pretty clear that S. Jaishankar remains. Amit Shah is being retained in cabinet. What portfolio is he going to hold other than one of the top 4? He has to get one of the top 4. So either he gets defense, home, or finance. Most likely he retains home. If Rajnath Singh is being retained, he is unlikely to receive a demotion. So he's going to receive probably defense again. That leaves finance, Himanshu. But do we expect Nirmala Sitharaman, or do we expect her to be given some other portfolio? Or do you suspect most likely she retains?
I think Nirmala Sitharaman would continue for this term.
Okay, so
she's done a good
CCS
job,
roughly the same.
Continue. Pardon?
Cabinet Committee on Security roughly the same, no change.
Roughly the same, no change. The newcomers will be blended for first 2 years. See, my gut feeling is newcomers from the allies will be blended into the way of functioning of the present ministry. And this 100 days roadmap, today morning, what the briefing was given was we have a future plan ready and we want you to work accordingly.
Okay. So you can see Nitin Gadkari there. You interestingly see H.D. Kumaraswamy there. Okay.
Yes.
Take a look. Ashwini Vaishnav very much there, invited back. You can clearly see that Dharmendra Pradhan, who's won from Odisha. Dharmendra Yadav is there. Arjun Ram Meghwal is there. Hardeep Puri, clearly you can see over there as well. So that is, of course, Ravneet Bittu, who's coming in from Punjab. He's going to be a new entrant for sure. Jitin will be a new entrant. Anupriya Patel sitting next to him has already been there. Piyush Goyal, as I mentioned, already there. Annapurna Devi is coming in most likely to Parliament. Jyotiraditya Scindia already there. Sarbanan Sonowal already there. Prahlad Joshi already there. So a lot of continuity. Obviously, Manohar Lal Khattar is going to be an entrant. Shivraj Singh Chauhan entrant. H.D. Kumaraswamy entrant. So you can clearly see some continuity and some new faces. So Joyita, pretty much the Cabinet Committee on Security, the 4 top ministries are going to be pretty much the same. Ashwini Vaishnav, you would assume he continues railways.
Well, he could even go in for IT, because I don't see Rajiv
Which he was
Chandrasekhar
holding
here.
both portfolios, yes.
Yeah, so I think, you know, that it will be split, because many of the ministers were holding 2 portfolios. So I think there is a possibility of that being split. But at the same time, I would like to see where Mr. Khattar and Mr. Chauhan will be accommodated, because they are among the senior most leaders in the BJP. So, you know, I mean, whether they will be part of the CCS or whether the CCS will be tweaked, a lot of speculation.
No, because who do you replace? You can't replace Jaishankar. That makes no sense.
No, it doesn't make sense.
They are senior but not senior to Amit Shah or Rajnath Singh. So unlikely those replacements happen. So in terms of politics, political seniority, not in terms of cabinet seniority. In terms of cabinet seniority, Nirmala Sitharaman right among the top. But in terms of political seniority, yes, a Shivraj and a Manohar Lal Khattar, Shivraj especially, 4 times Chief Minister is higher up. But unlikely he gets finance. So probably some other portfolios, and there are other portfolios. Joyita?
Yeah, the thing is, you see, now here we have to look at, you know, where, say for example, all these, the newer faces are being accommodated. Now, when you are looking at cabinet, CCS, there is some speculation about, you know, some shuffling may happen, but I don't know whether it's going to actually happen or not, but there is some speculation going on in terms of shuffling.
I'm telling you all the...
Interestingly,
Yeah,
2 things, you know, who is going to be the Chief Minister of Odisha, if Dharmendra Pradhan is going to be accommodated in the cabinet here, and number 2, who is going to be the BJP president now that Mr. Nadda is coming here, and when we are looking at and if Mr. Shivraj Chauhan is being accommodated in the cabinet, brought into the cabinet,
yes.
Mr. Khattar is being brought into the cabinet.
So they obviously cannot be BJP presidents.
Yeah,
yes.
Who is the BJP president?
Okay, so
now?
BJP president up for grab, Odisha CM up for grab. Remember, Dharmendra Pradhan sent to contest for the first time in Odisha. He won that. You've just seen. So what you're watching on the left side of the screen is a meeting that happened a few hours ago with the Prime Minister, and this is very much the PM holding a team meeting, okay, like the rest of us do. You're seeing live shots on the Rashtrapati Bhavan on the right side. You've just seen Piyush Goyal enter. You've seen Jitin Prasad enter. He's greeting people. You're going to see a lot many more coming in. Okay, so those are the people. Then comes the conversation of the agenda. So let me get Ambassador Baswati Mukherjee, Sharad Kohli and Dr. Rao into that. Ambassador Mukherjee, because the swearing in is happening, a team is going to take charge. There might be a plus minus, but in the end, it's PM Modi's team. They've chosen to invite 5 heads of government, adding to the South Asian nations Mauritius. What do you make of that decision?
Actually, I flew back from Mauritius this morning with our ambassador, Indian ambassador to Mauritius, because the Mauritian Prime Minister was expected 3 hours later. He was coming in from Dubai. So I had a long chat with her, and she's also Foreign Service Woman Officer, Nandini Shringla. And it was very exciting because the 5 who have been invited, they've been carefully selected. If you remember, in 2014, PM even stretched out a hand of friendship to Pakistan. And this time he has stretched out a hand of friendship to Maldives. So these are all very carefully selected, carefully choreographed. The Mauritian Prime Minister, for example, represents a vast constituency, as I saw for myself. I was there for 7 days, of people who are 100% rooted in the ideology of Prime Minister Modi. It was almost as if I was in India. The TV channels, including yours, Rishabh, was blaring 24/7 wherever I went, you know, so I don't think they had much time for their own channels. But this is very carefully choreographed. I wanted to congratulate Mr. Himanshu Bhatt for what he said, because I fully agree with what he said, that this cabinet, the newcomers, will be blended in. That's a beautiful way of putting it. Blended in means they will learn how to work in tandem with in a Modi 3.0, where they will understand the way the Modi cabinet and its people function. Because I know so many of them from inside, and they are completely committed to Prime Minister's vision, which was actually distributed before the election. I remember getting a copy myself. And this 100-day roadmap, which was studied before the election, and the outgoing cabinet was told that this is going to be the roadmap which the new government will have. Now, it doesn't matter that, okay, today we are having a coalition. It's not the first time that the BJP has handled a coalition. After all, when I was Joint Secretary, Prime Minister Vajpayee handled a very difficult coalition of 25 constituents. And how beautifully he handled it, I know. I was privileged to be in some of the meetings in my small capacity as Joint Secretary. So it is also very wrong to say that somebody of Prime Minister's personality cannot handle a coalition. Somebody of Prime Minister's personality who is committed to the good of the nation, of course, can handle a coalition, because what is politics after all but accommodation? And accommodation comes naturally to a politician, particularly to the BJP, who don't go public on each and everything the moment something happens. They reflect and do it. So I'm very confident.
Okay.
And I'm very glad that
so you think agenda is roughly intact. Let me get Sharad Kohli again. Two people who are, people who are not politicians, but have a strong point and have, of course, interest in where the country is going. Sharad Kohli, so now we are seeing, we pretty much have an idea what the cabinet is going to be. We pretty much seen the faces, what exact portfolios will be figured out. We are assuming that the top government positions are going to remain roughly unchanged, which will be very unusual in the history of Indian democracy. But nonetheless, regardless of who actually fills which portfolio and which position, do you think, Sharad Kohli, that the 100-day agenda with the much wanted, talked about 100-day agenda is intact or impacted?
Good evening, Rishabh. Before I go on to the 100-day agenda, allow me to make a slightly political comment here with regard to whatever you were talking with Himanshu and yourself as well. And that comment is, the agenda is going to continue, but you can see that air of difference. The air of differences, which is different, of course, from 2014 and 2019. There was a nara given of, if you remember, maximum governance, minimum government. I think that may have to be slightly moderated now. That is one. And then I heard Joyita saying give and take. So give and take, is never a balanced thing. There's always one side which is heavy, one side which is light. So I think those challenges, as we talk today, everything seems to be fine. And I hope, wish and pray it remains fine. But because after all, we are dealing with human beings. After all, we are dealing with political aspirations. So going forward, I think time will answer the question as to how these new allies, especially Bihar, Andhra, how they turn out to be, how consensual politics, how, their aspirations are met. Anyway, coming down to your question of agenda, I think the agenda is going to go unperturbed. There's no doubt about it. Prime Minister himself is committed to it. So he will obviously want his entire team to remain committed. I think the biggest agenda which is coming right now, just a few days from now, is the union budget, which is going to come out. And when you're talking about the finance minister, I was wondering that whether Nirmala Sitharaman stepping in, because the budget is hardly weeks away. So whether Nirmala Sitharaman's replacement will be able to pick up the threads, that's a question. So which is one reason why she might be asked to continue. That is one. Second is, the agri stress. I'm listing out 4-5 main points. The agri stress would have to be dealt with. And third important point, Rishabh, is the rant which the opposition went in campaigning, Garibi, Berozgari, those words which we were tired of hearing, whether it existed at the ground level or not, but we heard them. I think a Prime Minister and his team will have to be dealing with that comprehensively, because you don't want that rant to grow into a movement, whether people believe it or not. So it grows into a movement, so you will have to take care of that. Then another very important point, when 25 crore people have come out of multidimensional poverty index very, very recently. So these people, I said yesterday as well, these people are very vulnerable. They are, if not looked after, they can slip back. So government's aim would be to not only take care of them and take them to the next level, which is middle class
Okay.
or lower middle class, but also ensure that more people come out of that, because only then this rant of garibi, berozgari can be
All right.
killed.
Okay,
can
Dr.
be
Kohli, just hold your
silenced.
thought. Let me just describe to our people what you're seeing on your screens. That these are the people who are arriving. It's a massive ceremony. As you see Vasundhara Raje enter, you've just seen Kumar Mangalam Birla there also. You've seen some film stars. There's Ajit Pawar. If you're wondering, there was all was not well. He's there with Praful Patel in tow. You are seeing a lot of dignitaries, a lot of VIPs, but you are seeing a lot of Aam Janta that has been invited to this swearing-in ceremony. There are BJP cadres there. There are people Narendra Modi has spoken about in his Mann Ki Baat. Those people who did the miners rescue, Uttarakhand, they've also been invited. So you're seeing 9,000 people. The vast majority, of course, are ordinary citizens who have been invited to the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Many, I'm assuming, for the first time in their lives, are getting an opportunity. The cameras, of course, are focused primarily towards the front. So you're seeing the dignitaries. But we are getting some shots from the back, which is the people of India who've been called in to celebrate along with this. Let me quickly get Dr. Rao into this. Dr. Rao, what then become the important agenda items that we now just need to get done? Because it cuts both two ways. You can say that there are sociological things like One Nation, One Poll, things like UCC, that these also have a dividend and impact on the economy. They help in social mobilization, and these are also important. Or you can argue, don't waste your time on these political hot potatoes. Let's just focus on the economy. That's it.
Good evening, Rishabh, the panelists and all viewers. Yes, I would say the economy is the most important because it affects everyone. Economy, financial security leads to health security, it leads to all other things that you need like education, training, everything is based on the economy. The economy is the most important thing. If you want immediate effect, and Modi has been all the time talking about getting the GDP to 5 trillion. You can't do that unless you get the population division, for which you need to skill and educate the youth. So his focus has to be a very dynamic minister at that level who will look into the skilling, the training, and like I have said earlier, I feel that higher education has to be handed over to the industry so that we get very employable youth. And this was mentioned about, I think Dr. Kohli mentioned about garibi and berozgari. The way to hit that is by education, by skilling and employment. So that economy is the most important thing. As far as choice of ministers is concerned, we have seen, even when he was chief minister in Gujarat, he doesn't tolerate laziness, he doesn't tolerate incompetence, and he doesn't tolerate corruption. So some of his top ministers, cabinet ministers, were doing a great job. I don't think he's going to disturb them. But I think he's going to look for dynamic people to manage agriculture, to manage various other industries, and bring a dynamism into that. So that
okay, just hold your thought once again. So hold your thought once again. Just 1 second, sir. Let me describe visuals. That's Ambassador Jay Shankar sitting on the front row. Okay, so that's cabinet. Jitin Ram Manji sitting next to him. So that's cabinet. Okay, Hardeep Puri sitting third row, MOS. So we can see just from where they're sitting what designations they're going to get, portfolios. I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, we are all just speculating. Only, I'm assuming, Narendra Modi and the people who are themselves sitting on the chair have an idea what they're going to take over tomorrow morning, or maybe even this evening, if you leave how the government has been functioning. Nirmala Sitharaman, expect her to take her seat on the front row. Expect Rajnath Singh to take a seat on the front row. Expect Amit Shah to take a seat on the front row. It'll be in order of seniority, so Narendra Modi will be sworn in first. I'm assuming followed by Rajnath Singh, Amit Shah, and then in that order, the order in which they are seated. This gives you an indication of what is going on. Dr. Rao, sorry, finish your thought.
And then the other priority is education and health. So he needs dynamic people there. So you have been discussing the top posts like the finance minister and the defense minister, etc. They have been doing a good job. I don't think he's going to disturb them. He is going to look for dynamism in health, in education, in the industries, and just like when Scindia came in, he has been doing a pretty good job with the airports, and Gadkari has been doing a very good job with the roads.
Yeah.
So the infrastructure has to be sorted out.
Yeah, so you
Health
expect
and
Nitin
education has
Gadkari to retake roadways. So it's going to be a lot similar, a lot of the same. But obviously there are new intakes and there are senior people, and senior people include Shivraj Chauhan, Manji, others who might get cabinet berths, but we'll have to see which ministries they get, which remains particularly important. But Joyita, let's come back to the brass tacks. Okay, do you spend energy, doing the UCC and rolling out one nation, one poll, which is going to be a heck of a complicated constitutional hurdle, or you say, listen, hang this, let's just focus on doing all the small things that we continue to do in incremental growth. No big ticket items.
No, they will have to go for a few big ticket items, because if not for anything else, it is to grab the eyeballs, and that is how, if you are looking at the way the government has been functioning. I mean, there have been, along with the incremental changes, there have been several big ticket items, and if you remember what the Prime Minister has been talking about from the ramparts of the Red Fort, that this is not the time for incremental changes, this is the time where you take leaps. So, and that could be in several ways, but whether it is going to be UCC or one nation specifically, I do not know that, but there will be, I think, reforms in the, say, agriculture, farming in particular. I mean, that is like that's like a hot potato.
But that's the onion here, because Joyita, what have we just been told by the election results in Punjab? Election results in Punjab tell you we don't like the Shiromani Akali Dal, okay? We wanted to give the Aam Aadmi Party chance at the state level, but at the central level, no, not so much. BJP, no, you've not won us over at all. Okay, Congress also maybe. So we are so upset and so frustrated that lakhs of us are going to vote for Amritpal. Okay, so the Punjab voters tell you we are very upset. Mansukh Mandavia there in conversation with S. Jaishankar. You can well tell that Mansukh Mandavia, he was the incumbent health minister. We don't know whether he gets the same portfolio again. But Joyita, on that thought, how do you then do farm laws now?
Well, I think what actually a lot of us have been talking about for some time now, you have to get the states to do it, because agriculture is after all a state subject. So what one does is that just the way you can tackle the UCC also, if you do not want to take on the controversy, if you do not want to make it pan-India, let the BJP states make a start. One by one, if they start the reforms, that itself will constitute a huge number of states, a huge number of people. Say for example in UP, if they can bring in the agricultural reforms in UP, in Madhya Pradesh, in Rajasthan, there are so many states where they can make a start. So, and once people start realizing that these reforms are necessary, that they are not as toxic as the propaganda has been in particularly Punjab, I think gradually people will fall in line, people will start following that. So, I would say these are important areas.
Okay, is it required? Let me ask Dr. Kohli. Dr. Kohli, do we need incremental change, better implementation, or do we still need big ticket items like GST and whatnot?
I think I would rather take one step at a time, because these kind of big ticket changes, Rishabh, we all know they always end up upsetting few people here and there. You'll always have this 10-20% people who do not support these big ticket changes. So I think the strategy of the NDA will have, or shall I say Prime Minister Modi, this time will have to be tweaked a little bit, because you will have to, whenever you think of big ticket, we all know Prime Minister for giving surprises. I think, but this time he will have to be consensual. The decision will be put forth before first the cabinet, then of course in front of all the political alliance, and sit down, take a decision. So I think big ticket will be more thoughtful, but reform process will continue. For each reform, Rishabh, I'm making a big statement. For each reform, I think a signature, and when I say signature, I don't mean literal, but signature of the political allies have to be there, because it can easily upset somebody. I don't want to play devil's advocate. I'm not being devil's advocate. But these upsets in coalitions, if you look at the history, they have happened more often than not, and more quickly than not.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.